Good evening. Welcome to this broadcast. Today we want to discuss about the day's development in the Kisan movement at Delhi and elsewhere in India. The protest of the farmers is increasing and growing all over India. Yesterday we saw very large gatherings and protests in the Ambani headquarters at Mumbai. We also saw multiple protests and dharnas starting all over India. In the evening, the Sanyukt Kisan Morcha, that's the loose platform on which all the confederations and organizations of farmers have gathered to discuss, to carry out this protest. They sent out a letter to the government, and today we've received a reply from the government. The reply unfortunately repeats everything that the government has been saying for the last month or so. So what is the government saying exactly, and what is the problem with that? The government is saying that a secured income environment for farmers through the mechanism of minimum support price cannot be legally assured. That's one thing the government is very clear about. So minimum support price is the price that the government computes for about 23 major food crops and announces it at the beginning of planting season. There are two announcements made every year. The government says that this minimum support price, which the government announces, cannot be given legal status. And the farmers say that these must be given legal status. In other words, the farmers say that if you are announcing it, please find a way so that we get it. Otherwise, there is no point in your announcing it. And please put it in a law so that if someone is not paying us MSP, we should be able to prosecute that person. In fact, the government should prosecute that person. So this is one major area of problem. But surprisingly, while the government says that MSP cannot be given legal shape, legal form, legal guarantee, the government is also saying that we will give you in writing that MSP will continue. What does it mean? If MSP cannot be legalized, cannot be put into a law, what is the meaning of putting it in a letter? What is the government trying to say? Isn't what the government is saying contradictory? If you can't make a law for MSP, you can't give a letter assuring MSP. Yet in today's letter, the government is just saying this, that we will give you a legal assurance, a written assurance, but we will not make a law for it. This is perplexing, this is confusing, and this is cunning wordplay. The government should not be doing this with the farmers. The farmers, after all, are the food warriors of the nation. They give the nation its food security. And for the government to play with words with farmers is, well, not desirable. And mind you, it is this government which has been elected by the farmers, because even today, majority of the voters in India are farmers. So it is a farmers' government which wants to trick the farmers by using clever words. That's one problem. The second problem is, in today's letter, the government says that the new laws have nothing to do with MSP, and MSP should not be linked to the new laws, which are for agri reforms. What do the new laws say? The new laws are for welfare of farmers. That's what the government is saying. The new laws give the farmers a bigger market and freedom to trade wherever they want. That's what the government is saying. But the new laws will not set a ceiling for that trade, a floor at which trade must start. That's the MSP floor. So the farmers are saying that these new laws do not help us in any way. They may be reformists, but they are reforming the whole market of who will buy, how much he will buy, and how he will trade with the farmers. The new laws are reforms for agricultural trading in favor of traders and have nothing to do with farmers. So the farmers say the new laws must be repealed. You cannot do it in our name. You cannot say you are reforming agriculture for welfare of farmers when actually you are working, you are legislating for welfare of large multinational, transnational traders, exporters, and big corporates. This is the problem. The government's letter says that we cannot and will not connect MSP to the new laws. The farmers say we do not want these new laws, which have nothing to do with us, have no welfare included in it for us, and we want MSP. So that's a deadlock. How do you break it? I would think that the answer is very simple. The government legislated these without consulting farmers and farmers' unions. I know the government has a narrative that we've held 700 meetings and there has been sufficient debate and inputs from farmers. But even the common man on the street knows that this is not true. Because had there been so much consultation, had there been so much stakeholder participation in making these new laws, they wouldn't have in the first place come by way of ordinance on 5th of June 2020. Ordinances are laws which are brought in when Parliament is not in session to deal with urgent, emergent situations. Now, a complete overhaul of the agricultural marketing mechanism cannot be an urgent, emergent situation. So, when you bring in ordinances to bring in new laws, you prove it yourself. The government has proven it itself that these are not by due consultation. Farmers are telling the government that you have to consult us when you think about our welfare. We are on the eve of Christmas. Lots of small children ask Santa Claus for gifts. But if Santa delivers a gift that the child has not wanted, I think the child should have the freedom to say, please take back your gift. And that is exactly what the farmers are saying. We don't want these laws. These laws are not what we wanted in the first place. Please take it back. What can the government do? The government can say, we will keep these laws in abeyance and we will hold discussion with you. Any sensible government would have done that. Why is the government not doing it? There could be many answers, but one answer keeps coming back to me again and again. It's the strong man image of the Prime Minister. It's the image that the Prime Minister's design team has created for him. The demigod image. He can do no wrong. He can make no mistake. So the Prime Minister is standing on the pulpits and shouting that this is for the welfare of the farmers. I have thought about it. I have designed it. I have planned it. And hence, it cannot even be kept in abeyance. That's arrogance, isn't it? And I don't think a leader of a democratic country can afford to be so arrogant, especially with almost 70% of the voting population of the country. Yet, the Prime Minister and his team believe that this arrogance is something that they can afford. Even today, the narrative on the side of the government is that a small fringe group of farmers are protesting. They do not understand the law, and the Prime Minister himself will be speaking to millions of farmers through his public one-way interaction that he does every month, and they are with the Prime Minister. So the spin is that Most farmers believe these laws are good and support the government. Some farmers, who the government say are politically motivated, are opposing these laws, and hence there is no need to engage with these farmers. This is the political posturing. On the administrative side, the letter we got today and the previous letters take a completely different position. They say that the government is open minded, the government intends to engage, wants to hear the farmers, and will do everything to assuage the feelings of the farmers to meet the demand of the farmers. I will take the official letter of the government as its intent. I believe my government. And that intent is to engage meaningfully, to understand the point of view of farmers, and to solve the problems that the farmers are indicating. Namely, that these laws must be repealed. These laws must at least be kept in abeyance while discussions are taking place. It's like a ceasefire. If you're going to talk peace, you must stop firing guns. So, the government is indicating to the farmers through today's letter and previous letters that it wants peace. Well, if you want peace, we want peace too, say the farmers. And how can that be achieved? Please send a letter saying that these are the conditions on which we can consider repeal of the Act. These are the terms under which the Act can be repealed. If you set an agenda for a meeting where repeal is on the table, we will have a good discussion. But if you publicly articulate that there is no question of repeal, these acts are good, we will carry out these acts, we will carry through these acts. And when you write letters, you pretend that you wish to engage. This will not work. The government must have one position. The Prime Minister must have one position. The Prime Minister cannot blow hot and cold. The Prime Minister is confusing the country, is creating cloud on a clear sky. The Prime Minister cannot do that. The Prime Minister is misleading the whole country, is misleading the farmers, is misleading the polity, and I think the Prime Minister is severely guilty of trying to keep his ego intact, keep his image intact at the cost of the nation. This is a political cardinal sin. What next? The farmers' organizations, I'm sure, will write back telling the government that please set an agenda where we can discuss the process of repeal, the terms of repeal, and all interim measures. The government should respond and hold a meeting to discuss these very issues. Letters that go roundabout and keep saying the same thing will not work. The government must stop this public relations exercise. This is not government versus farmers. Government is for the farmers, government is by the farmers, and government should be for the farmers. The government today must exhibit that. They must express clearly that they understand that the farmers wish to have the laws repealed and they are ready to discuss that very topic. Any other discussion, any other letter, any other articulation is mere obfuscation, and the government must not obfuscate. So there should be a letter from the farmers' unions responding to today's letter from the government. The government should respond to it meaningfully, setting the terms of a meaningful, clear discussion. And then I hope that this bottleneck will finally end. The Prime Minister must understand that it is these people who have voted him to power. Now that he is in power, he must hear these people. He must hear the farmers of India. He must look out for the farmers of India and not just look out for himself, his party, and his electoral fortunes. If he listens to people, they will vote for him. If he doesn't, they will not. That's the clear equation in any democracy. On the issue of the spread of the movement all over India, this again is a spin of the government. Right from the beginning, the government is saying that Punjab and Haryana farmers are agitating because they have enjoyed MSP more than the other farmers of the country. The rest of the country is not protesting because they have not had the advantages of the Punjab and Haryana farmers. It is clear to me from this articulation of the government that the government is contradicting itself. Let us assume for a moment that Punjab and Haryana farmers are the only farmers protesting because they have enjoyed MSP. In that case, MSP works, isn't it? And if it works, farmers all over the country will want it, isn't it? Therefore, farmers all over the country will logically join the Punjab and Haryana farmers in ensuring that they get legal guarantee of MSP. Hence, it is an all India movement. Right from Tamil Nadu to Jammu and Kashmir, farmers are aggregating. The government is not allowing travel. The government is physically stopping farmers' convoys from reaching Delhi. The government of Uttar Pradesh is acting in a barbaric, completely unconstitutional and illegal manner. The nation has seen the government of Haryana trying to stop the farmers traveling on highways by excavating the roads, by using water cannon, tear gas, barbed wire. All of this tells you very clearly, those images are right there in front of our eyes, that the government does not want the farmers to aggregate together to show that this is an all India movement. So, on the one hand, the government is stopping the farmers from reaching protest sites, and on the other, the government is saying that this is a Punjab and Haryana problem, Punjab and Haryana agitation. Rest of the farmers are not involved in it. So, the issue that has led to the agitation is an issue of every farmer of India, and hence, in its very commonsensical core, it is an all India agitation. And stopping farmers from reaching that agitation proves that the government understands that it is an all India agitation and does not want the optics of the all India agitation to reach the internet, television channels, and newspaper pages. The government must stop this. The government is doing the nation great disservice by pretending that it is a local problem when it is a national problem. Income guarantee for farmers is a national problem, Mr. Prime Minister. Please understand this. No farmer anywhere in India is happy because they don't get prices for their crops. No farmer in India will ever tell you that he has got the price that the Prime Minister himself has announced and the Prime Minister himself has guaranteed in the House of People. Farmers are very unhappy with the Prime Minister. Farmers are very unhappy with the central government. And the central government must understand and respond if it does not want a nationwide protest to flare up. COVID or no COVID, travel restriction or no travel restriction, this fire of discontent is spreading, and the government is pretending that there is no fire. This is wrong. This is anti-national, and this is against the interest of all Indians. So, to summarize, the government should start engaging on an agenda that addresses the issues of the farmers. The government must stop speaking only to itself. It must speak to the protesting farmers. It must speak about the issues that the protesting farmers have brought to the fore. The government must understand the nature and extent of this agitation and must take steps accordingly to quell the fears that farmers all over India have. The government must act. Time for rhetoric is gone. Time for being smart and cunning is gone. Time for using words to solve problems is gone. There is a real problem, Mr. Prime Minister. We need real solutions for it. And if you are the leader that you claim to be, this is your test. The nation watches as you give your exam, and let's see if you pass or fail. Thank you for joining this broadcast. We will be with you every day, giving you the latest developments of the farmers' movement, what is happening, and how the farmers are reacting to it. Thank you once again for joining.